Alright guys, well, about half a day's work that Jake put in, and this thing turned out exactly how I wanted it to look. So, without further ado, check out the new and improved look of the Sat Grom. Hey, what are you doing? What's up? I'm just out here moto vlogging, you know. What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things. Today we're going to be talking about the Grom once again. The last mod video that I did of this bike, it didn't do all that great. I think at the time of filming this, we're only up to like 900 likes, didn't even cross 1,000. So instead of doing a typical walkthrough of like the bar install that I did last time, I decided I was just going to go ahead and continue modifying this thing. And instead of bringing you guys an instructional how-to video, I'm just going to talk about what I did. The main goal for today, though, is going to be getting this bike wrapped, which we're going to do right now. Ashley has my wrap in the back there. Thank you.
Ready, steady, spaghetti?
Ready, steady, spaghetti. Let's listen to this real quick. Ooh, new exhaust. Yep, that's one of the things that I've done. All right. Definitely sounds a hell of a lot better than it did stock. All right, so if you guys missed my first ride impression of this bike, or if you missed the Pro Taper bar install and everything that I did up front here, you can check those videos out. They're live on the channel right now. This is a 2022 Honda Grom. Brand new model. Some things changed, and I'm digging it a lot so far. I have 265 miles on it so far. Now, since the last video, last thing I did was, of course, the Pro Taper bar install. I did a few other things. All of this stuff has been pretty easy. I don't think it really justifies a tutorial, but I went with some shorty racing levers, which are adjustable. I put these on all of my bikes. You simply remove these screws in the front here. You remove the screws up here, pop the new levers in. On the clutch side, you do have to put the clutch cable inside of there. Brake side, just one bolt, that's it. Nice and easy. Aesthetically, they look good. They are adjustable, of course, and yeah, I like them a lot. From there, if we're still talking about the front, you will see here I got new turn signals from TST Industries. They are LED. I had to swap out the little LED, the blinker module, which is underneath the seat, because I also have an integrated tail light too. The install on these parts is really straightforward as long as you get the little wiring harnesses. That way you're not having to splice anything yourself. Those are pretty much plug and play. Screw them right in. Super flush. These are the same turns that I actually had on my old Grom as well, and they look great. They're super bright. You can see them from the front, from the side, and you can also see them yourself sitting on the bike. In the rear, I went with an integrated tail light from Man in the Box, I believe is where I picked that up. Also a fender eliminator kit, so I got rid of all of the ugly stuff in the rear, and that's what I was talking about in the last video. So that install was pretty straightforward. Just removed a couple bolts under the tail. The whole thing dropped down. I got a really nice flush mounted plate mount now. The tail light is actually programmable, so when I tap on the brakes, it will flash a few times before going solid. That thing is completely adjustable. You can change flash patterns, and it's all basically customizable. I also went ahead and got some knobby tires, which I don't know if you guys can really hear right now, but there's definitely a lot more road noise. I opted for the Kenda big block tires, and that's something that I never had on my old Grom. I just ran street tires on that thing. However, since I'm going to be bringing this thing around with me on the hitch of my van, I figured might as well make it like a mini adventure bike, and that's of course exactly what we're doing. The wrap is going to go along with it great, which you guys will see here in a little bit once we get over to the shop. These tires did have a little bit of a sort of a strange break-in period because the pattern is so aggressive. When I'm leaning into turns initially, I can feel when I'm on the center tread, and then once I get to the side tread, the bike sort of like clicks into place. And if you've ever ridden some more aggressive street / off-road tires, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You can sort of see the tread pattern here. Super chunky big blocks on these. A lot of people put them on adventure bikes, touring bikes, and it's good for off-road. Tires for the Grom are essentially scooter tires, so they're really inexpensive. I think I paid less than $100 for the set. And just like my Ninja, which I think this happened like last summer, I was riding around the other day and I get to a stop sign and I'm like, kind of feels squishy back there. And I had it was a big like framing staple, 2 holes in the rear tire. I'm like, great. So luckily I was close to my van. I limped it back to the van, had a patch plug kit in there, plugged the tire up, inflated the rear tire. Could probably use a little bit more air, but it's holding for now. It was luckily down in the center of the tire where I could use a plug. I didn't have to push it all the way through one of the treads. So hopefully that thing holds. If I do have to buy new tires, not the end of the world. Like I said, they are cheap, but such a bummer. Anytime I get new tires on motorcycles, I feel like I always get a nail or staple or something in it that I have to patch it right away. Not really going super fast on a Grom, so I'm not worried about the plug coming out, but if there's a slow leak, that will get pretty annoying in the future. So we got the bars, the controls, all of the lights and LEDs, got all that stuff cleaned up the plate, got new tires, and the exhaust, of course. The exhaust I didn't film me installing at all because I was just like not really in the mood, but I went with a Zoom exhaust. I believe it came from Thailand. Relatively cheap exhaust. It was like $250. I went and heat wrapped it as well just to sort of match the style of my old bike. So I put some black heat wrap on this one. It was a little difficult to wrap because they add another mounting point over the stock point, so I kind of like crisscrossed it around the pipe, and it ended up looking decent, but also kind of ratty at the same time. And I guess that's kind of the style of the bike that I'm going for anyway. I do plan on taking this thing on trails, and it's going to get beat up, so the exhaust sounds pretty good. It's louder than stock, that's for sure, but at the same time it's not really going to add a ton of performance to the bike. Maybe the computer's still learning about it. I had the stock exhaust on when I did the tire swap, and the tires were much louder than the bike as you're rolling down the road. Now that I have the Zoom exhaust, I can still hear the tires a little bit, but I would say they're probably at about the same decibel rating. I can hear the tires just about as much as I can hear the exhaust, and it doesn't really bother me all that much. But if you're into rolling fast, then you're probably not going to want to run tires like that. And it all just comes down to what you actually want to do with your Grom. So what else do we got? We did the tires, the exhaust. That's pretty much it. So I'll give you guys a more close-up look at the bike as we're wrapping it today, and I've got some plans for the wrap. This is something that I mocked up a while ago, like 3 months ago when I first put my down payment on this bike, and I'm stoked. I'm headed to the wrap shop right now, and we'll dive right into what we're going to be making this thing look like. Hope you guys are ready. And just like that, we're at the shop. Some of you may have heard of Lucid Wraps before. Here with Jake. What's up, dog?
What's up, man?
Good to see you again.
You as well.
So I don't want to give away too much of what we're doing. I'm just going to film you as you work. I'll help rip down the bike and stuff like that, but quick preview for you guys. Got the wraps laid out here. Shout out to Multicam for providing some of this stuff. I think you guys can already tell where we're going with this. It's going to be a good time. Alright guys, well, about half a day's work that Jake put in, and this thing turned out exactly how I wanted it to look. So, without further ado, check out the new and improved look of the Sat Grom. I do have one more final touch for this thing, for now anyway, before we get into like performance mods and stuff like that. I gotta give a huge thank you to Patreon supporter, Discord member, Daniel Crosslink. He actually has a YouTube channel where he 3D prints all sorts of stuff. I asked everyone on the Discord if someone could 3D print me something, and we got this right here. So Daniel 3D printed me a tiny little Max track, because this is of course matching the van now. I also found a little 3D printed roto pack that is basically made for an RC car, but it's going to fit perfect right here on the subframe of the Grom. Now it's complete. So there you guys have the first new look at the Sat Grom. Huge thanks to Jake. Appreciate it, dude.
Yeah.
This was a one-off that you did for me, so
Definitely.
Don't ask him to wrap your Grom, but other vehicles. You specialize in
Everything.
You wrapped helicopters, signs, a toilet bowl.
Toilets, high heels, cars, rigs.
Mainly cars. If you're into overlanding and stuff, hit him up. Lucid Wraps. I'll leave a link for his Instagram and website down in the description below. Thanks, dude.
Awesome. Thank you.
Alright guys, so the Sat Grom has a new life now. Looking down at like the whole tank area here, now that it's gloss, it just has such a different look to it. It looks like a completely different bike, which is obviously the point of that. One of the reasons why I waited for the matte black version was because I knew I wanted to get it wrapped. And when you have a color like matte black and then you cut out these little recesses here and you have all the lines where the wrap meets the actual paint, it all blends in and it looks so damn clean. Like, I wish video and photos did justice to what this thing looks like now, but it really doesn't. So with that being said, if you guys are interested in van life, and if you're interested in the Grom and you want to see it in person, like I mentioned in some of my previous videos, I'm going to be going to the Revel Rally Expo in Durango, Colorado this weekend, and then the Loveland Overland Expo the following weekend. And I got a hitch receiver, so the Grom's gonna be with me. I'm bringing this thing with me to both the expos. I'm gonna take it around Moab, and Ashley and I are gonna go test out these off-road tires and everything that I've done to it. So there you guys have the wrap and some more mods in a little bit different of a style of video this time. If you guys have any questions on some of the mods or anything that I've done to it, let me know in the comments down below. I'll be happy to answer any questions for you. There's only a few more aesthetic mods that I will probably be doing here in the future, and other than that, the only thing that's left is a little bit of performance. I could go into detail now about what I'm thinking as far as performance mods go, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So that's all that I've got for today. Huge thank you to Jake at Lucid Wraps for getting this thing looking right. I'm so stoked with how this turned out, and chances are I'm going to be taking some more of my vehicles to him to wrap in the future. If you're new here, consider clicking subscribe because I make new videos every week. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.